Hello, this is Harry Paden. I'm the host of Paden's Pulpit. This is Season 1, Episode 19, Juneteenth Facts. Today is a double holiday. Though it's Sunday, this is a Sunday holiday, so a lot of people's work may not be affected, but one of them, most of us know, is celebrated on the third Sunday in June. That's Father's Day. More about that later. A new holiday to a lot of people, especially those of color, is Juneteenth. It's a combination of the month June and 19, Juneteenth combined. And I'm going to give you some information on Juneteenth. Hopefully you know this information already, because this information is all out there, and we hope that you make yourself available. But if not, I'll make it available to you. Easy, wheezy. Most Americans don't have the correct facts. There is a great effort not to get those facts out. CRT, the initial CRT, critical race theory. Many of those other people, some call them the colonizers, don't want you to know it because they're afraid. I don't want to have to apologize for what my ancestors did. I didn't do anything. Well, that's not true. I've given other information about the current effort under the orange guy. Many of the colonizers are emboldened. But this is about Juneteenth. It's coming directly from one of my books, Now You Tell Me, History/Facts, Not Taught in Most Schools. This book is available on Amazon. Not promoting the book, but because it's in the book, I'm going to give it to you directly from the book. As our nation, my nation too, as our nation, the United States, approached the third year of the bloodiest war America has ever faced, bar none, between the Union and Confederate States, known as the Civil War. Then President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. In September 1862, after the Union's victory at Antietam, Lincoln issued a preliminary decree. This decree stated that unless the rebellious states returned to the Union by January 1st, 1863, freedom would be granted to all slaves within those states. So this is a fact that a lot of people are confused with. Contrary to some history books, the Emancipation Proclamation did not free all the slaves. Instead, this is a fact. Write it down, as they would say, for tests. This document announced the emancipation of all slaves in any state of the Confederate States that did not return to Union control by January 1st, 1863. In other words, the northern slaves weren't intended to be freed by this document. Look it up. The Emancipation Proclamation was intended to free the slaves under the hold of the southern states by January 1st, 1863. Lincoln's proclamation only declared slaves free living in the states not already under Union control. So that means that slaves in states under Union control were not freed by this document. At the time of the signing of this document, Lincoln figured that the slaves controlled by the Union would be freed if the United States compensated slave owners for their property when the war was over. So the Union slaves would still be slaves, but he figured we could compensate them and they would free their slaves. Emancipation Proclamation was only intended to free those slaves held by the Confederate States. Look it up. I know what I'm talking about. Here's another fact. Lincoln's proclamation contained the following words, very important. And I further declare and make known that such persons of suitable conditions will be received into the armed service of the United States to garrison forts, positions, stations, and other places, and to man vessels of all sorts in said service. These words allowed blacks to fight as soldiers in the Union Army. Previous to this declaration, blacks weren't able to fight for the Union, even though they were fighting to try to gain their freedom. They couldn't fight. The Union didn't want them. They figured blacks were inferior. Lord have mercy. So they didn't have them fight to help for their own freedom. But by the end of the Civil War, almost 200,000 black soldiers and sailors fought for the Union and for their freedom. These soldiers proved to be an important part of the Union's ultimate victory over the Confederacy. 200,000 blacks. They wouldn't let them fight until Lincoln gave the order because they thought that blacks were inferior. But it proved to be the catalyst that 200,000 men, armed men, and they say we're crazy, dumb, all those kind of things. Even though his proclamation did not, in fact, free all the slaves, it was the catalyst for change. Now, let's go back to talking about how Juneteenth came about. Emancipation Day is a holiday in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, to mark the anniversary of the signing. Listen to this, but most of you don't know about this. The Compensated Emancipation Act, which President Lincoln signed April the 16th, 1862, before the Emancipation Proclamation. It is held annually in the District of Columbia on April 16th of each year. That was 9 months before the Emancipation went into effect. The slaves in Washington, D.C. were freed. Bet you didn't know that. Look it up. Compensated Emancipation Act, April 16, 1862. That document freed 3,000 D.C. slaves by compensating former slave owners who were loyal to the Union. And that has been a holiday in Washington, D.C. for numerous years. It even affects our taxes on April 16th, when that holiday falls close to the April 15th tax day. That's why you get sometimes an extra couple of days to file your taxes. Compensated Emancipation Day, Washington, D.C. Now, Emancipation Day, without the compensation. Emancipation Day is a celebration renamed, some still call it Emancipation Day, but it's called Juneteenth, which we now are celebrating on today. On June 19th, 1865, now if you do the math, the proclamation, the Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863. A Union General, Gordon Granger, rode into Galveston, Texas, to inform its citizens of the end of the Civil War. These poor slaves had continued to be slaves because no one had informed them. Their slave owners knew, but what did it say? Ignorance is bliss, lack of knowledge. So they continued to enslave these poor people for 2.5 years. Boy, I hope God reconciles with some of these hateful people. I know He's a forgiving God, but boy, y'all did some hateful stuff. 2.5 years after Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, the last 250,000 slaves who had continued to be enslaved because of minimal Union presence were freed in Texas. June 19th has been shortened to Juneteenth. It is now, thanks to President Biden and those politicians that helped move this into law, it is a federal holiday. It will be celebrated annually each year. To many in the black community, Juneteenth is our actual Independence Day, because many of us say July 4th, we didn't become free. We were still slaves. We were slaves. July 4th. So independence wasn't a word that was germane to our population. Juneteenth was the actual day that the last of the slaves were free. And actually they were freed January 1st, 1863, sometime thereafter, once the Civil War was over. I hope this information kind of helps you. This is a short podcast, and I try not to put a whole bunch of information because I know people have short lifespans. I hope this information helps you out. You notice I'm dressed up. Oh, look good, right? I always look good, but today is Father's Day. I am a father, thanks to my beautiful children out there. I have 6 children, and being a father is the most precious thing ever to me. One of my daughters and her children gave me this beautiful buff. You see how that arm? Because I do lift, and I try to maintain a fitness. I'm going to the gym tomorrow because I'm jealous of this buffness, man. You know, I'll come back next time and show you. I've done that before, showing you my arms. But, yeah, look pretty good, right? Oh, yeah. This is old school. This is GQ. This is how the gentlemen in my day used to dress. I don't dress well compared to some of the dudes who were around in my area, Central High School, Scudder Home Projects, Howard Street, Mercer Street, Lincoln Street. Them brothers could dress. I would be underdressed. But, you know, you see my jewelry, my bling, you know, we just do the best we can. Finally, today also is Father's Day. Let's not just celebrate Juneteenth with another cookout, barbecue, sitting home doing nothing. Fathers, as this day falls on Father's Day, let's get our act together. Let's stop making those babies out there that are either unwanted or unplanned. I said, and I'll say it again. Let's stop making these babies that are unwanted and unplanned. Guys, you got to do better. Your entry into heaven might be compromised. Making these children that you don't halfway even know. Thank goodness for Maury Povich, because a lot of people claim that people are their father that probably are not. And these guys out here slipping their man-child into everything because it's easy. Stop it. And you females, let's stop it too. A man doesn't help you keep it. Stop sleeping with these married men. There's names that people call. I'm not going to say it. You know, stop it, women. Get your own man. There's plenty of men out there. Stop it. Men, stop being whores. Women, stop being whores. Making unwanted babies. I said it. I have one biological daughter. I raised 6 children. I can speak on what I'm speaking on. And I do it over and over again. I'm not out here making babies with every chick that I see. That's insane. That's the end of my podcast. I'm Harry Paden. I speak the truth to power. My mentors trained me to do that. To God be the glory. Men, stop it. Women, stop it. Especially people of color. To God be the glory.